A beautiful doctor mocked a poor black man's ancient healing. But when the patient suddenly woke from her coma, everyone froze, and the doctor's pride shattered in silence. In a world full of struggles and second chances, every story hides a lesson worth learning. This is Afnan Art, where ordinary lives become extraordinary tales. Sit back, open your heart, and let the story begin. The soft beeping of the heart monitor echoed through the white walls of New York General Hospital. Dr. Olivia Carter, known for her beauty and brilliance, walked briskly into the intensive care unit. Her long blonde hair was tied perfectly, her white coat pressed and spotless. She hated nonsense, and today was no exception. Inside room 506 lay Mrs. Helen Porter, a 58-year-old woman who had been in a coma for months. Her family, exhausted, desperate, stood beside her bed, and beside them, a tall black man in worn clothes, holding a small leather pouch. Olivia's eyes narrowed. "Who is he?" she asked coldly. Mrs. Porter's daughter, Emily, stepped forward nervously. "Dr. Carter, this is Darius Cole. He's helped people before. We just want to give him a chance." Olivia's jaw tightened. "A chance? This is a hospital, not a street market for magic tricks." The nurses exchanged awkward glances. Darius didn't react. He simply nodded politely and said, "I'm not here to replace you, doctor. I just want to help." Olivia crossed her arms. Her voice dripped with disbelief. "Help? With what?" "Ancient chance and wishful thinking. If you could heal people that easily, we wouldn't need medical school." For a moment, silence filled the room. Emily began to cry quietly beside her mother's bed. Darius looked at Olivia with calm eyes. "I've seen people wake up when no one believed they could. Healing doesn't always come from medicine. Sometimes it comes from mercy." Olivia let out a small laugh. "All right then, let's make this simple. If you can wake her up, I'll admit you're better than me." Everyone gasped, even the nurses froze. The challenge was out in the open. Darius nodded slowly. "I don't need to be better, doctor. I just need to see her breathe again." Without another word, Olivia stepped aside, folding her arms tightly across her chest. The room fell silent except for the steady rhythm of the heart monitor. Beep, beep, beep. Darius approached the bedside. His hands trembled slightly as he placed them near Helen's forehead. He closed his eyes, whispering a prayer under his breath. No one could understand what he said. It was soft, deep, and filled with something that made the air feel heavy. Olivia tapped her watch impatiently. 3 minutes, that's all you get, she said. The family watched, torn between hope and fear. The nurses looked at the monitor nervously. Then, something changed. The monitor skipped a beat. Helen's fingers twitched. A soft gasp escaped her lips. Emily screamed, "Mom? Mom!" Olivia froze, her eyes wide, her heart pounding. Helen's eyelids fluttered open, slowly, weakly, but unmistakably alive. The room exploded with cries and sobs of disbelief. Nurses ran to call for the senior staff. Emily fell to her knees, clutching her mother's hand, whispering thank yous over and over. Olivia stood still. Her lips parted slightly, but no sound came out. And Darius? He just stepped back quietly, whispering again. She was never gone, only waiting to be called. The cameras in the corner of the ICU kept rolling, recording everything that would soon shake the entire hospital, and the pride of one brilliant doctor who thought she had all the answers. The sun rose over the skyline of New York City, painting the morning in pale orange light. The news of the miracle at New York General had already begun to spread. Nurses whispered about it in the hallways. Doctors dismissed it as coincidence. But one name echoed quietly between every conversation: Darius Cole. Far from the bright streets of Manhattan, in a narrow apartment building in South Bronx, Darius sat by a small window, sipping instant coffee from a chipped mug. His room was barely furnished: a worn couch, a single lamp, and a wooden table covered in old books about herbs and healing. On the wall hung a faded photo of an elderly woman. His grandmother, Althea Cole, had taught him everything. She used to say, "Boy, medicine can touch the body, but faith can touch the soul." Those words stayed with him long after she passed away. There was a knock on his door. It was Maya, a teenage girl from the neighborhood, whom Darius often helped with her sick mother. "Darius, did you really wake up that lady at the hospital?" she asked with wide eyes. He smiled faintly. "She woke up because it was her time. I just happened to be there." Maya sat on the floor, crossing her legs. They're talking about you on social media. They say you're some kind of miracle worker." Darius shook his head. "Miracles don't come from people like me. They come from the one who listens." He turned back to the window. Down below, the Bronx was already alive. The rumble of buses, the call of street vendors, the shouts of kids playing. It was noisy, raw but real. This was his world. Not the clean white corridors of a Manhattan hospital. But deep down, he couldn't forget the look on that doctor's face. Olivia Carter, when Mrs. Porter's eyes opened. There was pride in her gaze before, sharp and cold. But in that moment, he saw something else. Fear, confusion, maybe even guilt. Across the city, inside her luxurious office at the hospital, Olivia sat alone. The blinds were half closed, the city lights flickering through. On her desk lay a stack of reports, brain activity charts, blood tests, MRI results. None of them explained what had happened. She played the video from the ICU camera over and over. Every time she watched it, her chest tightened. She wanted to believe it was a coincidence. Maybe the patient's neurons had suddenly reacted. Maybe the sedative had worn off. But then, the moment she heard Darius whisper those words near the woman's ear, the monitor changed. It wasn't science. It wasn't logic. It was something else. Her pride burned inside her. "I won't let this street healer humiliate me," she muttered to herself. She stood up, grabbed her coat, and left the office. Later that night, Darius was walking home through Brook Avenue after helping a neighbor. The streetlights flickered. A sleek black car stopped beside him. The tinted window rolled down. "Darius Cole?" a voice asked. It was Olivia. He smiled calmly. "Dr. Carter, surprised to see you here." She stepped out, her heels clicking against the pavement. Even in the dim streetlight, her confidence was intimidating. "I need to talk to you," she said sharply. "About what?" "About what you did. About what happened in my ICU." Darius nodded, gesturing toward a quiet bench under the broken streetlight. They sat there, a doctor in an expensive coat and a man wearing an old flannel shirt. Two worlds that were never meant to meet. "I watched that video 100 times, Olivia said coldly. "You didn't touch her. You didn't inject anything. You didn't even monitor her vitals. And yet, she woke up. How?" Darius looked at her calmly. "I don't control life, doctor. I just ask for mercy." "That's not an answer," she snapped. "I need something I can measure, something real." He turned his head slowly toward her. "Then maybe, doctor, you're looking in the wrong place." For the first time, Olivia didn't have a reply. The city noise faded into silence. A single siren wailed in the distance. As Darius stood and walked away, Olivia sat frozen. Her entire life had been built on logic and proof. But now, one impossible event, one man from the Bronx, had begun to shatter everything she thought she knew. And deep inside, though she didn't want to admit it, she felt something new. Not just anger, not just confusion, but a quiet, haunting sense of awe. The next morning, the hospital was buzzing with rumors. Everyone had seen the video from room 506. Doctors in white coats huddled in corners, whispering about the miracle. Nurses replayed the footage on their phones, pausing at the exact moment when Mrs. Porter opened her eyes. Dr. Olivia Carter walked through the corridor, pretending not to notice the stairs. Her heels clicked sharply against the marble floor. Her perfect hair and flawless makeup could not hide the storm inside her. When she entered the staff lounge, the chatter stopped instantly. A young intern, Dr. Michael Abrams, quickly stood up and said, "Morning, Dr. Carter. That video, it's all over the news. They're saying a street healer did what medicine couldn't." Olivia forced a tight smile. "Don't believe everything you see on the internet, Dr. Abrams. It's called coincidence, not a miracle." But even as she said it, her voice trembled slightly. She turned away and poured herself a cup of coffee, her hands shaking. The spoon clinked against the porcelain cup, a small sound, but it echoed like thunder in her chest. Behind her, someone whispered, "Still, it's strange, isn't it? The timing, the way it happened." Olivia slammed the spoon down. "If anyone here wants to trade science for superstition, you're free to resign." Her voice sliced through the room like a knife. No one dared to speak after that. That night, she sat alone in her penthouse apartment overlooking Central Park. The city lights glowed through the glass walls. On the TV, a local news anchor spoke excitedly. "An extraordinary event at New York General Hospital. A comatose patient has awakened moments after a man performed what witnesses describe as a spiritual healing." The hospital has not released a statement yet, but sources confirm that the man, identified as Darius Cole, is not a licensed medical practitioner. Olivia turned off the TV and rubbed her temples. Her heart felt heavy, not because she had lost face, but because something inside her had cracked. In all her years as a doctor, she had seen hopeless cases. She had lost patients despite every treatment, every procedure. And every time, she told herself it wasn't her fault, just biology, just fate. But now, she couldn't stop asking herself, what if fate could be changed? What if there was more? The next day, she was called to the office of Dr. Harris, the hospital director. He was an older man with gray hair and a reputation for strict professionalism. "Olivia," he said quietly, "I watched the footage. So did the board. They want answers." Olivia crossed her legs and spoke firmly. "There's no scientific explanation, sir. It must have been a natural recovery." Dr. Harris leaned back. "Then why is the patient's family telling every news outlet that a healer saved her life? This hospital's reputation is at stake." Olivia clenched her fists beneath the table. "So what do you want me to do? Admit that he performed a miracle?" The old man sighed. "I want you to prove that he didn't." His words hit her like ice water. "Find him," Dr. Harris continued. "Learn who he really is. If he's a fraud, we'll expose him. If he's not, well, that's something we'll have to deal with." Olivia nodded slowly, but deep inside, she felt a strange mix of fear and curiosity. As she walked out of the director's office, she passed the ICU again. Helen Porter was sitting up, smiling, her daughter by her side. The same woman who had once been motionless, silent. When their eyes met, Helen smiled at Olivia and whispered, "He said you'd come around one day, doctor." Olivia froze. "What did you say?" Helen's eyes softened. "Darius. He said the doctor with a guarded heart would soon learn to listen again." For the first time in years, Olivia felt something she had long forgotten, the sting of humility. And beneath that sting, a quiet whisper of guilt. She turned away, hiding the moisture in her eyes. Because deep down, Olivia Carter, the brilliant, beautiful doctor who thought she understood everything, had just realized she understood nothing at all. Rain poured over Manhattan that night, blurring the glow of the city lights. Thunder rolled somewhere beyond the skyline as Dr. Olivia Carter drove through the wet streets, her mind racing faster than her car. She wasn't sure what she was doing or why. All she knew was that she needed to see him again. Darius Cole, the man who had somehow undone everything she believed in. She reached Brook Avenue, where the streetlights flickered like dying candles. Her polished shoes splashed through shallow puddles as she walked up the narrow stairs of an old brick building. The hallway smelled of rain and old wood. When she knocked, the door opened slowly. Darius stood there, wearing a plain gray shirt. His eyes were calm, but his expression showed surprise. "Dr. Carter," he said softly, "I didn't expect you here." Olivia exhaled, her hair slightly damp. "I need to talk," she said quietly. He stepped aside, motioning her in. The room was small, lit only by a single desk lamp. Shelves lined the walls, filled with glass jars containing dried herbs and old papers. A faint scent of sage filled the air. "You live like this?" Olivia asked, glancing around. Darius smiled. "I live simply. It keeps me focused." She crossed her arms, trying to hide her unease. "Tell me what you did that day. I've watched the footage again and again. There's nothing in the data to explain what happened." Darius took a slow breath and sat at the edge of the table. "I prayed," he said simply. "That's not an answer," Olivia snapped. "I need facts. Pulse changes, oxygen intake, neurological triggers, something real." He looked at her, not offended, but saddened. "You call it facts. I call it faith. But we're both looking at the same thing from different sides." Olivia clenched her jaw. "Faith doesn't restart a heart." "No," Darius replied quietly. "But love can." His words hung in the air, and for a moment the room felt heavier, quieter. The only sound was the rain tapping gently against the window. Darius reached for a framed photo of an elderly woman. "She was my grandmother, the first person who taught me to heal, not with my hands, but with my heart." She said, "A doctor can close a wound, but only kindness can close despair." Olivia's eyes softened despite herself. "I studied for 10 years to save lives. I don't have the luxury of hope." Darius turned to her. "Then maybe you've been saving bodies, not lives." The words cut deeper than she expected. For a long time, Olivia said nothing. The sound of the rain filled the silence between them. Her gaze drifted to the small table where a bowl of steaming herbal tea sat untouched. "You think I'm heartless," she whispered. "No," Darius said gently. "I think you're afraid to believe in something you can't control." Olivia felt her throat tighten. No one had ever spoken to her like that. Not her colleagues, not her mentors, not even herself. "I should go," she murmured, grabbing her coat. As she reached the door, Darius's voice stopped her. "Doctor." She turned. "Mrs. Porter's recovery isn't about me," he said. "It's about a promise she made long ago, to forgive someone she hurt. Sometimes the body waits for the heart to let go before it heals." Olivia stared at him, confused, shaken. "What does that even mean?" He smiled faintly. "You'll understand soon." She left without replying. Outside, the rain had softened into a mist. She stood by her car, looking up at the dim light from Darius's window. Inside, he was praying again, silent, steady, peaceful. She didn't know why, but her chest ached. For years, she had healed others without ever realizing how broken she was inside. And that night, as thunder rolled again over the city, Olivia Carter began to feel something she hadn't felt since childhood, the trembling pull of faith trying to return to her heart. Morning light spilled across the skyline of Manhattan, golden and soft after the long night of rain. Inside New York General Hospital, the halls buzzed louder than usual. Reporters gathered near the lobby, cameras flashing as they tried to get a glimpse of the woman everyone was talking about. Mrs. Helen Porter, the patient who had awakened from her coma. On the 5th floor, Olivia stood by the window of the ICU, watching the clouds move slowly above the city. Her reflection in the glass looked tired, uncertain. She had been awake all night, replaying Darius's words in her mind. Her assistant, Nurse Carol, entered quietly. "Dr. Carter, the press is asking if you'll make a statement." Olivia didn't answer right away. "What do they want me to say?" she murmured. "That a man with no degree did what modern medicine couldn't." Carol hesitated. "They just want the truth, doctor." Olivia turned. "The truth is, I don't know what happened." Her voice cracked slightly. The nurse looked at her with pity but said nothing. Down the hall, inside room 506, Helen Porter was sitting upright, a gentle smile on her face. The woman who had once been lifeless now looked peaceful, her voice soft but strong. Olivia entered slowly, clipboard in hand. Emily, the patient's daughter, jumped up with excitement. "Dr. Carter, look, she's even eating breakfast." Olivia forced a small smile. "That's wonderful," she said quietly. Helen's eyes met hers. "Doctor, I remember your voice. You were there when I couldn't move." Olivia nodded. "Yes, you've been unconscious for months." Helen's gaze softened. "I remember another voice too. A man. He called my name like he knew me." Olivia froze. "Darius?" she whispered. Helen smiled faintly. "Yes, that's him. When I heard his prayer, I saw a light. It felt like forgiveness." Emily placed her hand on her mother's arm, tears forming in her eyes. "You're saying you heard him?" Helen nodded. "He wasn't praying for me to wake up. He was praying for me to let go of my anger." Olivia swallowed hard. Anger. Forgiveness. Words that didn't belong in medical charts, yet somehow felt heavier than anything she'd learned in years of study. Later that day, Olivia attended a press briefing in the hospital auditorium. Cameras clicked as she stood at the podium. Her usual confidence was gone, replaced by quiet restraint. "Good afternoon," she began. "As you all know, our patient Mrs. Porter regained consciousness unexpectedly. We are reviewing her case carefully to understand the medical cause behind her recovery." A reporter raised his hand. "Dr. Carter, is it true a man named Darius Cole was present during the incident?" The question struck like lightning. Olivia hesitated. "Yes," she said finally. "Mr. Cole was present, at the request of the patient's family." The crowd erupted with more questions. "Do you believe his actions were responsible for the recovery? Was it a miracle? Are you admitting there's something beyond medicine?" Flashes of light blinded her as the questions poured in. Her heart raced. Her palms were sweating. Finally, she took a deep breath and said, "I don't know what to believe anymore." The room fell silent. She turned away from the podium and walked out, ignoring the chaos behind her. Outside the hospital, Darius stood under a maple tree near the parking lot. His hands were in his pockets, his expression calm. When Olivia stepped outside, she saw him there, waiting. "You knew this would happen, didn't you?" she said. Darius smiled gently. I knew the truth would wake more than one person. Olivia frowned. Why me? Why are you trying to teach me something? He shook his head. I'm not here to teach, doctor. Just to remind. Remind me of what? That healing isn't always about curing. Sometimes it's about believing again. Olivia stared at him, speechless. Behind them, reporters were still shouting questions, the world hungry for an explanation neither of them could give. And as Darius walked away toward the busy street, Olivia felt the strange mix of awe and confusion return, stronger this time, deeper. For the first time since she became a doctor, she didn't want to explain what happened. She just wanted to understand why. 3 days later, New York General Hospital no longer felt like a place of healing. It felt like a battlefield. Doctors whispered in corners, arguments erupted in meeting rooms, and the air was thick with suspicion. The board had called for an emergency investigation. Some believed Darius was a fraud exploiting desperate families. Others, including a few of Olivia's closest colleagues, secretly thought something extraordinary had happened. In the doctor's lounge, tension filled the air. Dr. Michael Abrams slammed a report onto the table. This is ridiculous. We're turning a hospital into a church. Across from him, Dr. Lisa Chong, a neurologist, spoke softly. Michael, the patient's scans show something unusual. Her brain activity surged right when Darius started praying. You can't just dismiss that. Michael scoffed. Coincidence. You really think a street healer cured a coma? Lisa's eyes narrowed. I think we've forgotten that not everything fits into our textbooks. The argument grew louder. Voices clashed like thunder. The sound carried down the hallway, straight to Olivia's office. She sat at her desk, staring at the medical files spread before her. Every test result said impossible. Every explanation failed. She rubbed her temples, exhausted. A knock broke the silence. It was Dr. Harris, the director. His usually calm expression was tight with frustration. Olivia, he said, this place is tearing itself apart. We need clarity. I know, she replied weakly. The press wants another statement. The board wants your recommendation, whether we let this man back into the hospital or ban him for good. Olivia looked up slowly. Ban him. Dr. Harris nodded. He's a distraction. We can't run a hospital based on belief. She hesitated, the weight of every word pressing on her chest. What if belief is part of healing? She whispered. The director frowned. Since when did you start talking like that? Olivia looked away. Since I saw something I can't unsee. Dr. Harris sighed deeply. Think carefully, Olivia. Your career, your reputation, they're on the line. If you defend him, you'll be alone in this. When he left, the room felt colder. The city lights outside flickered like silent watchers. Olivia stared at her reflection in the window, the image of a woman torn between logic and faith. That night, she returned to the ICU. The halls were empty, the hum of machines filling the silence. She stopped by Helen Porter's room. The older woman was asleep, breathing gently. Olivia whispered, almost to herself, How did you come back? Behind her, a voice answered quietly. Because she believed she could. Olivia turned sharply. Darius stood in the doorway, his figure half-lit by the corridor light. She stared at him, both angry and relieved. You shouldn't be here. I know, he said softly, but you needed to see me. She crossed her arms. You've caused chaos here. Doctors are fighting, the media won't leave, and my name is everywhere. Darius took a slow step closer. Is that what really bothers you? Or is it that you can't explain what you saw? Olivia froze. He was right, and it hurt. He continued, his voice calm but firm. You built your life around control, doctor. You measure pain, label it, treat it. But not everything broken can be fixed with science. Her throat tightened. So what are you saying? That I'm wrong to believe in medicine? No, he said. I'm saying healing needs both hands. One for knowledge and one for mercy. For a long moment, neither spoke. The rhythmic beep of the monitor filled the air, slow and steady. Finally, Olivia whispered, You make it sound so simple. Darius smiled faintly. It is. We're the ones who make it complicated. He turned to leave, his footsteps quiet on the polished floor. Olivia watched him go, her heart pounding. She felt anger, confusion, admiration, and something else she couldn't name. Because for the first time, she wasn't sure if she wanted him to leave. The next afternoon, the hospital's rooftop garden swayed gently in the wind. The sound of the city below was distant, muted by the rustle of leaves. Olivia stood near the railing, her hair catching the light, her mind heavy with everything that had happened. For years, she had walked these same halls as the woman everyone admired, the perfect doctor, the one who never made mistakes. But lately, even her reflection felt foreign. Her confidence had turned into doubt. Her certainty had become questions she couldn't silence. She stared out at the skyline of Manhattan, the skyscrapers gleaming under the sun, and wondered if somewhere beneath all that beauty, people were breaking just like her, quietly, invisibly. Beautiful view, isn't it? The familiar voice came from behind her. Darius. He was holding a small paper cup of coffee, smiling softly, as if the chaos of the world had never touched him. Olivia sighed. You shouldn't be up here. Neither should you, doctor. But sometimes people come here when they're lost. She turned to face him, her expression guarded. Why do you keep showing up? Because you keep asking questions, he said simply. Olivia crossed her arms. I'm a scientist. That's what I do. Darius nodded, taking a sip of his coffee. And yet, none of your questions have given you peace. She opened her mouth to reply but stopped. He was right again. The quiet between them stretched long, only the hum of the wind filling the space. Finally, she said softly, I spent years watching people die on my table. I told myself I did everything I could. But maybe, I stopped believing that what I did mattered. Darius set the coffee down on the stone ledge. Then maybe that's what broke you. Not failure, but forgetting why you started. Olivia looked away, her eyes glistening. I started because my mother died of cancer when I was 12. I swore I'd never feel that helpless again. I wanted to save everyone, no matter what it took. Darius listened silently. But in trying to save them, she continued, I forgot how to care. They became cases. Numbers. Charts. Her voice trembled, and for a moment, the proud doctor looked like a lost child. Darius stepped closer, his tone gentle but firm. You can't heal anyone if you close your heart. Healing isn't about fixing. It's about seeing. Olivia's eyes lifted to his. Seeing what? The person behind the pain. For a long while, they stood in silence. The city breeze brushed between them, soft and cool. The garden around them smelled faintly of jasmine and earth, a rare piece of calm in a world that never stopped moving. Then Darius pulled something from his pocket, a small wooden charm, carved with intricate patterns. He placed it gently in her hand. My grandmother made this, he said. She said it reminded her that every healer, no matter how skilled, needs healing too. Olivia looked down at the charm. It was simple, worn smooth by time, yet she felt warmth radiate from it. I don't deserve this, she whispered. Yes, you do, Darius replied. Because you're starting to see again. For the first time in days, Olivia smiled. Not the forced, polite smile she gave to colleagues or cameras, but something small and real. Darius looked at her, his voice barely above a whisper. Maybe one day, doctor, you'll stop trying to understand miracles and start being one. He turned to leave, his footsteps fading as the wind picked up again. Olivia stood there long after he was gone, the charm still in her hand. The weight of it was light, but it felt like it carried something far greater, a truth she wasn't ready to admit, but could no longer deny. And as the sun began to set over the glass towers of Manhattan, Olivia Carter, the woman who once laughed at faith, found herself whispering a prayer she didn't know she remembered. The following morning, New York General Hospital was quieter than usual. The press had grown tired, the noise had faded, but something deeper lingered in the air, a tension, a whisper of change that no one could explain. Olivia walked through the corridor, the wooden charm still in her pocket. Every time her fingers brushed against it, she felt a strange calm, something she hadn't felt in years. She didn't tell anyone about it. Not her colleagues, not even the hospital director. It was something she wanted to keep to herself, a secret reminder of what she was beginning to believe. That afternoon, she received a file from the archives department. It was a request she had made days earlier to review Mrs. Helen Porter's old medical history. She flipped through the pages absent-mindedly until something caught her attention, an address. Not in New York, but Montgomery, Alabama. Her heart skipped. That was where Darius's grandmother had lived. She looked closer at the notes. One page mentioned that Helen had volunteered years ago for a medical outreach program, St. Hope Community Center, Montgomery. The same center Darius had once mentioned in passing. A sudden realization washed over her. Helen and Darius's grandmother must have known each other. Olivia immediately called the old community center, her voice trembling slightly. "Hello, this is Dr. Olivia Carter from New York General Hospital. I'm trying to locate any records involving a Mrs. Helen Porter and an Althea Cole." The woman on the other end gasped softly. "Oh my, yes. I remember Althea. She was one of our healers. A kind soul. Helen worked with her for years, helping patients who couldn't afford care. Those two were inseparable." Olivia gripped the phone tighter. So they knew each other? They were like sisters. Until the day Helen moved north. I think they lost contact after Althea's passing. Olivia's breath hitched. Everything began to make sense. Helen hadn't just been any patient. She had been spiritually tied to Darius's grandmother, the same woman whose prayers Darius had inherited. It wasn't random. It wasn't luck. It was connection, a bond that had waited decades to close. That evening, Olivia went back to the hospital to visit Helen again. The sun had dipped behind the skyline, painting the windows in shades of gold and violet. Helen smiled when Olivia entered. "Dr. Carter, I was hoping to see you again." Olivia pulled a chair closer. "I've been reading your old medical files, Mrs. Porter. I found something interesting." Helen chuckled softly. "About Alabama?" Olivia nodded. "You knew Darius's grandmother." Helen's eyes grew distant, soft with memory. "Yes, Althea was the kindest soul I ever met. We used to help sick children together. She believed every person carried light inside them, even when they forgot it was there." Her voice trembled as she continued. "I left after my husband died. I lost my faith, my purpose, and I never said goodbye to her." Tears filled her eyes. "When I fell into the coma, I saw her again. She wasn't angry. She said someone would come, someone who still carried her light." Olivia's heart pounded. "Darius," she whispered. Helen nodded slowly. "He came because it wasn't me who needed saving. It was him, and you." Olivia felt her throat tighten. "Me?" Helen reached out, touching her hand gently. "You were meant to be there that day. You both were. Some people are brought together not by chance, but by mercy." The room fell silent except for the rhythmic sound of the heart monitor. Olivia couldn't speak. Every wall she had built inside her began to crack. She thought of Darius, his calm eyes, his steady voice, the way he looked at her not as a rival, but as someone worth saving too. Helen squeezed her hand. "Doctor, healing isn't just about bringing others back. It's about letting yourself come back too." Olivia blinked, fighting back the tears she had denied for so long. For the first time, she felt something deeper than confusion, a quiet, sacred clarity. And as she left the room that night, the world outside seemed softer. The lights of Manhattan flickered like gentle embers, and somewhere beyond the city noise, Olivia Carter whispered the truth she had finally learned. The miracle wasn't that a patient woke up. It was that a heart did. A week later, the hospital auditorium was filled to the brim. Reporters, doctors, nurses, and even patients gathered for a press conference the board had demanded. The world wanted answers. How had a woman in a 6-month coma awakened after a simple prayer? On the stage stood a long table draped in white, microphones lined up in a row. The press lights were blinding, the air thick with tension. Olivia Carter sat at the center, wearing her white coat and a calm expression that masked the storm inside her. Darius Cole sat quietly in the front row among the crowd, his hands folded, eyes humble and steady. Dr. Harris stepped up to the podium first. "Ladies and gentlemen," he began, "we're here to address the recent incident involving patient Helen Porter and the extraordinary circumstances of her recovery." He glanced toward Olivia. "Dr. Carter will speak on behalf of the hospital." A murmur spread through the crowd. Cameras clicked. Every lens pointed toward her. Olivia rose slowly. The microphone caught the faint tremor in her breath. "Good afternoon," she began softly. "For days, I tried to find an explanation, a scientific reason for what happened in room 506. I studied every chart, every scan, every heartbeat on that monitor." She paused, her eyes drifting to where Darius sat. "But I couldn't find one." A ripple moved through the audience. "For years," she continued, her voice stronger now, "I believed that medicine could explain everything, that the world was made only of logic and equations. But that day, something happened that no logic could define." Behind the cameras, someone whispered, "She's admitting it." Olivia drew a deep breath. "I mocked a man who came to help. I called his faith foolish. I thought compassion had no place in a hospital. I was wrong. The room fell silent. Even the photographers stopped shooting. Her gaze found Darius again, calm, unmoving, yet powerful in his stillness. That day, Olivia said, her voice shaking, a patient woke up. But the truth is, I was the one who was awakened. I realized that healing isn't about pride or proof. It's about humility and heart. She turned toward Darius, her voice barely above a whisper. Mr. Cole, I owe you an apology, not for doubting your method, but for forgetting my own humanity. Every person in the room seemed to hold their breath. Darius slowly stood, his expression unreadable, then gave a simple nod. His eyes glistened, not with triumph, but peace. The audience broke into soft applause, not the loud kind that follows a spectacle, but the gentle kind that follows truth. Reporters shouted questions. Dr. Carter, are you saying this was a miracle? Do you believe in faith-based healing now? Olivia smiled faintly. I'm saying that healing can come from more than one source. Sometimes it's medicine. Sometimes it's mercy. Sometimes both. She stepped down from the stage, ignoring the chaos behind her, and walked straight toward Darius. When she reached him, she extended her hand. Thank you, she said softly, for reminding me who I wanted to be. He shook her hand gently. You were never lost, doctor. Just asleep. They both smiled. As cameras flashed again, Olivia didn't care about the news headlines that would follow. She didn't care about her reputation or the whispers that would surely fill every corridor tomorrow. For the first time in her life, she wasn't chasing perfection. She was standing in truth. And in that moment, surrounded by noise, light, and strangers, she felt something quiet but unmistakable. The peace that comes when pride finally lets go. 6 months had passed since that day. The headlines had long faded, and the chaos surrounding New York General Hospital had settled. But for Dr. Olivia Carter, life would never be the same again. She had resigned from her position, not out of shame, but out of clarity. The board had tried to convince her to stay, promising promotions and new research grants. But Olivia knew her journey was meant to go somewhere else. And that somewhere was Harlem, a place far from the polished glass towers of Manhattan, where the air smelled of roasted peanuts and children played on cracked sidewalks. At the corner of Malcolm Avenue, a new sign hung on a small brick building. The Mercy Center, healing for all. Inside, sunlight filtered through old windows onto wooden floors. There were no fancy machines, no expensive equipment, only shelves of medicine, herbal jars, and warm smiles. The clinic blended science and faith, a place where both stethoscopes and prayers could coexist. At the center of it all stood Olivia, still graceful, still brilliant, but changed. The arrogance in her eyes had been replaced by kindness. She wore a simple white coat, her name embroidered without titles. Across the room, Darius was tending to a child's scraped knee, humming softly while the boy's mother watched in gratitude. When he finished, Olivia handed the boy a lollipop, smiling. You're brave, she said gently. The boy grinned and ran to his mother. Darius turned toward her, his voice warm. You've gotten good at that. Olivia chuckled. I had a good teacher. He shook his head. You had the heart all along. You just stopped listening to it. For a moment, they stood side by side, looking around the small clinic filled with life. Elderly patients waiting patiently, children laughing, volunteers moving busily. It wasn't a hospital of steel and glass, but it was alive in ways those walls had never been. Olivia reached into her pocket and touched the wooden charm, smooth and warm against her fingers. I never gave this back, she said softly. Maybe it was never mine to take back, Darius replied. It was meant to remind you. Healing begins with the heart. She smiled, a tear glimmering in her eye. Do you ever miss the hospital life? He looked out the window at the busy Harlem street. No, this feels more like healing than anything I've ever done. They stood in silence for a while, listening to the sounds outside, laughter, traffic, life. Then Olivia spoke, her tone thoughtful. You know, people still call what happened a miracle. Darius smiled faintly. Maybe it was, but not because of what I did. Miracles don't belong to people. They belong to those who believe again. Olivia nodded slowly, her heart full. She had once believed in nothing but science, cold, clean, unquestionable. But now she understood that faith wasn't its enemy. It was its missing piece. Outside, the sky glowed gold as evening settled over the city. The clinic lights flickered on, one by one, as patients continued to arrive. Darius turned to her. "You ready for another long night, doctor?" Olivia smiled, slipping on her gloves. "Always." They walked back inside together. A doctor and a healer, science and soul. Two worlds that had once collided now working as one. On the wall above the entrance, a single framed quote written in Althea Cole's handwriting hung for all to see. "Healing doesn't always come from medicine. Sometimes it comes from compassion." And under the glow of that truth, the Mercy Center became more than a clinic. It became a place where broken bodies and broken hearts learned to live again.